Did Tucker Carlson just infer that God is immoral? Have a look at this clip.
We cannot have permanent enemies, period. It's immoral to imagine that someone must always be your enemy, that he's an Amalekite or whatever. That is immoral.
So what Tucker Carlson basically said there is that it is immoral to have a permanent enemy. Now, for those of you that do not know, Tucker Carlson is a very popular YouTuber with over 5 million subscribers and also a very popular media personality. He also claims to be a Christian and a conservative. Clearly, someone that is not very familiar with his Bible. And I say this only because he says to have a permanent enemy, like the nation of Amalek, is immoral. But we have a clear verse in the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Christian Bible, that says in Deuteronomy 25 verse 17, where it says, "Remember what Amalek did to you on your journey after you left Egypt, how undeterred by fear of God, he surprised you on the march when you were famished and weary, and cut down all the stragglers in your rear. Therefore, when your God grants you safety from all your enemies around you, in the land that your God is giving you as a hereditary portion, you shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. Do not forget." That is what God tells us to do. The Jewish people listens to God. We do not listen to popular YouTubers, and we certainly do not take Bible lessons from popular YouTubers that calls our God, who by the way is also the God of the Christians and the God of the Muslims, immoral. This is a statement that we as the Jewish people cannot accept. And I'm sure this is also a statement that Christians that really believe in God, as well as Muslims that really believe in God, cannot accept. But here's a clip where Tucker Carlson goes into a little bit more detail, because I don't want him to say that I took him out of context. Have a watch.
Deuteronomy describes a tribe that is beyond redemption and must be killed, period, because they have blood guilt. Their DNA, as Mark Levin explained on Twitter, makes them evil, and they must be destroyed, every one of them. Not just the fighting age men, but their wives and their kids and their parents all must be killed, because we're not just killing a foreign army, we're killing a strain of genetics, because that's where the sin comes from, their genetics. We do not acknowledge that. We cannot allow that attitude.
It's clear from Tucker Carlson's words that he believes that what God commands us as the Jewish people in the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Christian Bible, is wrong and immoral. He also mentions in this verse in Deuteronomy 25, we are not just told to kill men of fighting age, but to wipe out the entire nation of Amalek, including women and children. I'm not sure if Tucker Carlson has ever read the Bible, but in the flood of Noah, God wiped out everyone, all the people, women, children, animals, leaving only 8 people on a boat and pairs of animals. According to Tucker Carlson, that is immoral. We also have another incident in the Torah where 3 men comes to Abraham. We learn from the story that these 3 men are in fact angels. And they tell Abraham that they have come to see what is happening in Sodom and Gomorrah, and they are there to wipe out Sodom and Gomorrah. It was actually 5 cities that they have come to wipe out, because, as it says in the verse, the outcry has become great before God. And then Avram goes into a whole debate and says, but will the God of everything not do justice? Would he kill the innocent with the righteous? And he starts at 50 and he ends at 10. Then God says, if there's 10 righteous people, I will not wipe out Sodom and Gomorrah, which we know is 5 cities in total. But God did end up wiping out Sodom and Gomorrah, including women and children. Everyone died, except Lot and his 2 daughters. Only they were spared. So again, according to Tucker Carlson, God is immoral. And what about the numerous verses in the Torah, again, which is the first 5 books of the Christian Bible? God instructs the Jewish people, when they come to take possession of the land of Israel, that they should wipe out the nations, the 7 nations, that is in the land of Israel, including women and children. Again, according to Tucker Carlson, that is a God that is immoral. So I'll be very honest with all of you. I don't really know Tucker Carlson. All I know is that I have been told that he's a conservative Christian political commentator, and I would thus think he believes in God and he believes in the Bible. But from what I hear him saying, he's not a man that's ever opened the Bible. And if he is a man that's ever opened the Bible, he misread a couple of verses. And he clearly has some deep-seated issues with God. And that is probably the reason why so many of his videos, for some reason, is popping up on my YouTube feed. Since YouTube thinks that this is a conservative Christian who should then like the Bible, like God, and thus someone like me that mainly makes videos about Judaism, converting to Judaism and Israel, that this would be someone that I would be interested in watching. And then I stumbled upon a whole debate here on YouTube, which seems to be a fracture in the right wing of American politics, where some are pro-Israel, some are against Israel, and all these people claim to be conservative Christians. And as a former Christian, I know that the reason that Christians support Israel is because they believe in the Bible, and they believe in the prophecies in the Bible. And the prophecies in the Bible clearly states that the Jewish people should return from the 4 corners of the earth to Eretz Israel, to the land of Israel. It also clearly states that we should rebuild our temple. And in my humble opinion, I think that is why many Christians support Israel. Not necessarily supporting Jews, but supporting the prophecies that tells the Christians that the Jews need to return to the land of Israel. And we as the Jewish people living in the land of Israel are obviously grateful for that support. But we cannot and we will not let God be slandered by someone that calls himself a Christian conservative and in the same breath calls God immoral. This is something that we as Jews cannot accept. And I've also seen some other video clips where Tucker Carlson is saying that we, the Jewish people, is illegally occupying the biblical land of Israel, which the prophecies in the Bible says we should return to, and where he quotes some UN resolutions, the United Nazis, or as he calls it, the United Nations. And again, like I stated in the beginning of this video, we as the Jewish people take instructions only from God and what is written in the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Christian Bible. We do not take instructions from a man that has 5 million YouTube subscribers called Tucker Carlson, and we definitely do not take instructions from the United Nazis that has countless resolutions against a tiny state called Israel. And if you really want to know who is occupying the land of Israel, then you should most definitely watch this video next. And please let me know in the comment section below what you think of what Tucker Carlson has said about God, as well as the rift within the right-wing conservative movement in American politics. Thanks for watching and Yom Tov.